yes, unquestionably life is more expensive, but what have you done to increase your income? Whether it's at your day job, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a set of skills. What are you doing? What are you doing to get better? There are people winning today. Why aren't you one of them? 10 reasons why everyone is broke today. We're going to have this conversation with the one and only and amazing Brian Adamson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Happy to be back.
Absolutely, man. Love these conversations with you. We've talked about so many different things, but I want to take a step back for a moment and just think about, why is everybody broke today? We're going to play a game that I call ping pong, where you and I go back and forward. You are the guest. We're going to do this 5 times. So we're going to talk about 10 reasons why everybody is broke today. Brian, what do you got for number 1?
Considering you just dropped this on me, that's so nice of you, by the way, Mike.
You got it.
I think the number one reason, or at least one of my reasons, is because people allow their lack of resources to cloud their resourcefulness. People allow their lack of resources to cloud their resourcefulness. And they're 2 totally different things, right? Maybe you don't have any money in the account, but maybe you got a credit score, right? Maybe you got a bankruptcy, but maybe if you go and study something deep enough, you can actually come up with a sound business plan and go get a partner. Like, there's always a way to tap into your resourcefulness, even if you don't have the resources. And I think that's one of the biggest barriers holding people back.
Yeah, one of mine, because again, I don't know what my 5 are going to be either. So just in fairness, we this came up for both of us at the same time. My first one is really this buy now, pay later. So what do I mean by that, right? When I was growing up, you'd get a credit card, and that would be the way you could kind of outspend your income, is just put everything on debt. During the pandemic, we took it one step further, and now we have buy now, pay later. I'm seeing people do buy now, pay later for groceries, fast food, just all kinds of things. So with this additional layer of debt, we are sparking conspicuous consumption, and someday the price is going to have to be paid. So one of the reasons everybody is broke, I think, is they don't even know how much debt they're in. They just don't know how many, for me, debt is like, how many hours of my life am I selling to pay this off? Right? I bought a $20 meal, but it's going to, it takes $40 to pay it back, which means I've got to work, 8 hours to pay it back. It's just, we just got this next thing, buy now, pay later, has just allowed people who don't understand how debt works to keep conspicuously consuming. And that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Sometimes I think people think as long as I don't look at it, I don't have to deal with it.
Yes.
And just based on the law of entropy, nothing left to itself improves on its own.
Exactly.
Right. So the more that we don't do anything, the more that we don't write it out, the more that we don't take accountability and hold ourselves accountable, that thing is just only getting worse, and it's compounding by the day against you. So since you went debt, I'll stay debt. We either risk our way to wealth or we gamble our way to poverty. So it's interesting to me, on the topic of debt, that people will go out, spend 6 figures plus, or get 6 figures or more in debt to go to college. And I'm not saying that that's incorrect, but I think it's incomplete, because when we go to get this degree, we go to get a job that we weren't promised. Neither did we know how much money we would make. We may have had some projections, soft, but it didn't stop us, because for whatever reason, we thought that was our best opportunity to go succeed in life. And so without a conscious thought, we went and borrowed all the money we could to go get the job that we don't know that exists on the other side of it. But then there comes a time, Mike, like you and I, where you have to make some investments in yourself outside of that.
Yeah.
In a very specialized area with a very specific opportunity of what that could turn into in a much shorter time frame. And we talk ourselves out of it because it's not the norm. So sheep being led to slaughter is the norm. And although we see the ones that go in never come out, we still just keep going in the line with them. Yeah. But then you get this other small segment of people over here, and it's like, nah, that's only got to work for them. Right. So we talk ourselves out of the very thing that could change our life because it seems abnormal to everything else that we're exposed to.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. One of the 3 most dangerous words to me to hear when somebody's trying to get wealthy, right? Because I always talk about wealth's a 10-year journey, is the following phrase: I deserve it. Right? I have seen so many people say that and then just go splurge, right? It could be something small like $300 pair of shoes. It could be something bigger like a new car. It could be something even bigger like a second home. Folks, if you are on the path to getting wealthy, you don't get there by taking off ramps with this I deserve mindset. You don't. No, you don't. You're on a 10-year journey. Stay on the 10-year journey. You deserve it after 10 years, not at year 4, not at year 6. This is 10 years. Stop sabotaging yourself with I deserve it. That's the wrong mindset, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, Mike. You don't. The only things you deserve is what you steward towards. Earning does not equal deserving. Stewarding equals deserving. So if you feel like you deserve the car, then does the allocation for that show that? Did you plan for that? Did you steward for that? Right? If it's, you want to go and buy the couple $1,000 bag or whatever, cool. Did you steward for that though? It can't just be a knee-jerk reaction to I had a good month. Mm-hmm. And I think to your point, Mike, that's exactly it. We can't have these emotional purchases because we have a perception that we're doing better than not. Just go find a real estate agent and ask them that, how that's working out.
Exactly.
Right? When they killed it for 2 years during COVID, and then now they like, the market sucks. And it's like, that may be true, but your planning for the market also sucked because you acted as though it never was going to change.
Right.
Right.
Love that.
So I guess that leads me to my next one. People are broke because they don't plan well.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think that is so true. I mean, like your example of real estate agents, mortgage brokers, the same way. You just live high on the hog. You get the second car, you lease a third car. You don't watch your monthly spend because why bother? And then you don't realize that cycles happen, and you can get got, and that's where bankruptcies occur, right? And yeah, you got to plan for the whole thing, not just the good times. Yeah. I love that. I love that. The next one I have for you is. People treat the word sacrifice like it's a 4-letter word. And, there was this marshmallow test they did with kids, right? Where, hey, if you don't eat the one marshmallow, you'll get a second marshmallow. And most people ate the one marshmallow, never got the second. Getting wealthy, again, is so simple. You've got to live below your means. That creates disposable income. Disposable income becomes investable assets. Those assets grow over time, and bingo, bango, you're wealthy. But it starts with sacrifice. I'm reminded of PTO for Life, Jeff and Saleka, who were at our event in Vegas last week. They were just featured in Business Insider for the second time. And they talk about their chosen sacrifice was house hacking as a married couple, right? They talk about, how they lived in a bedroom and shared bathrooms and did this and did that. You know what? They're financially free after 9 house hacks in 9 years. Now they don't do any of that. Now they live in their own place. But again, if you want it, all of us, every millionaire I talk to on this channel, the ones that are regulars like you and the ones that come on once in a while, all of them got wealthy because they sacrificed something to get here. Sacrifice is not a dirty word. In fact, for some of us, it's our superpower. Right? We're comfortable and we're not moved by the wind. But for some people, it's like, nope, I'm going to eat that damn marshmallow right now because I don't believe you. I don't believe a second one's coming. So I'm going to eat the first one now.
It's kind of strange, Mike. And I don't know if you find this to be true or not, but the more success that I have, the less I want.
That's so true. Once you can have it, once you can have it, it's like,
I'm not spending my money on that. Are you kidding me? It's crazy how that works. And I guess that's just the whole, we always want what we can't have.
Yeah. It's that kind of carrot that you're reaching for. And you get it's like, don't need it.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, man. And I don't know, that was an aside. But as you were saying that, I just thought about that. I'm like,
very true though.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another one is our actions don't align with our beliefs.
Yes.
And so we either need to change to get what we want, or we have to change what we say we want.
Yeah. I like that. My next one is, I'll actually go kind of to the math of it all. I don't think there's any question that life over the last 5 years has gotten more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's no question that inflation is real. Inflation hits everyone. Inflation's a regressive tax, which unfortunately means it hits the bottom worse than the top, right? Everybody's paying the same price of gas. It's just, at the lower end, it means you've got to sacrifice something else. But when you think about that, it also means we haven't focused on growing income. One of the things that you've taught me, being a friend and a mentor of mine, is, you can only cut so much. At some point, you've got to grow revenue. You got to grow income. And as somebody who has had an employee mindset most of my life, who now begrudgingly can be called an entrepreneur, it is interesting to see that a lot of people have just accepted kind of the lot in life. They haven't gone out and tried to expand their means. They haven't gone out and learned AI. They haven't gone out and, they haven't, like, I don't know if you know this, but like, if you're good at what you do and you go to a competitor, there's a very good chance you get like a 10, 12, 15% bump in income, right? Now, in today's environment, maybe it's better to stay put, but I'm just highlighting the fact that, yes, unquestionably life is more expensive, but what have you done to increase your income? Whether it's at your day job, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's a set of skills, what are you doing? What are you doing to get better? There are people winning today. Why aren't you one of them?
Man, this one is near and dear to me, Mike. I don't know. Is this number 4 or 5?
You're going on number 5. That was my fourth.
All right. So that's the whole reason why we started this Purpose to Profits program, right?
Exactly.
Is for this very thing that you just referenced, that you have 3 different P's. Is pain, potential, and pleasure, right? So some people are in a painful state that they work some dead-end job, they're not making ends meet, and there's an immediate need for them to do something more, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have the second tier of people, which are the potential people, that maybe they're doing well in corporate, they're making a couple $100,000 a year, but it's not a trip they can take, it's not a drink they can have, it's not a car they can buy to ever fulfill them, because they still have it's kind of like how you talked about when you first left corporate and you were borderline depressed because you knew that there was a capacity that you needed to fill out, right? So that's the second group of people. And then lastly, it's the pleasure group, which they've done something for 20, 30, 40 years, over indexed, killed it, but then there's a season of life where they like golfing, sitting on the beach playing bingo, just ain't cutting it. Why? Because they're supposed to also be making a contribution based off of this 20, 30, 40 years of skill that they've acquired, that they just now need to go on YouTube after 50, Mike, as you always talk about, cut on and help some people. And so that's the whole heart behind our Purpose to Profits, is that we all have purpose that should be profitable for us. So a lot of the time we're looking for some external factor to help us make more money, when we just need to look inward at what have we already gotten good at that we can help others, even if we just 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of them, that we can help them have an easier go than we had in our process. And I'll just close really quickly with this parable. In the Bible, there's a parable of the talents, and it's literally it's an economic parable. Okay. And in the story, there's a master who is going out on a trip, and he leaves his 3 servants in charge of specific sums of money. Okay. So one he left 5 talents or 5 bags of silver, to one he left 2 bags of silver, to one he left 1. So he goes out on his journey, comes back, talk to servant number 1. Hey, so what you been up to since I've been gone? Servant number 1 says, oh, I started a business. I actually took the 5 and I doubled it to 10. He was like, oh man, that's amazing. Well done, good and faithful servant. Let me give you some more to go put to work. Goes to servant number 2. What you been up to? Oh, I went in. Actually, I did some investing. And this is all in the Black Bible, by the way. I did some investing while you were gone. I turned the 2 and the 4. He said, well done, good and faithful servant. Gave them more money to put to work. He goes to the 1. I don't know why in this story, ladies, forgive me. I just see this as being a woman in this particular context.
Oh, you opened yourself up now.
Oh, yeah, I know. They could get me in the comments. But he goes to servant number 1. He says, so Maggie, what you been up to? She was like, well, here's the thing. I kind of knew that you were a shrewd businessman, and I was scared to potentially lose your money. So what I did was I went and buried it for you. It's right over here. I can go get it. He said, get away from me, you wicked, unruly servant. Had you at least put my money in the bank, it would have earned interest in my absence. Now watch this, Mike. He takes the 1 from Maggie, casts her out, and then gives it to the 1 that had 10. So in life, we always say, well, why is it that the rich get rich and the poor get poor? It's because for the 1 that doesn't understand how to work the principle and use what God has already placed in their hands, even though they don't see it as being enough to risk, then he takes it from them and give it to the 1 who knows how to operate in the principle most. Now, the most glaring thing about this whole story, and for those of you who go out and go and watch it or read it, is it said that God blessed each one of them according to their ability. So what does that mean? That means that if we want more, we have to become more.
Yeah.
It's a reason why, forgive me when I say this, but it's a reason why gas station attendants don't get $1 million check, because they haven't become the person to manage and steward that yet. But if they would start managing the $13, $14, $15 an hour in such a way, they would see that the opportunities will increase in their lives because they become a person to do something at a larger level. And so we just got to be very careful when we see the person that has the 1 versus the 10, they're blessed based on their capacity. The 1 that has the 10, their $100,000 problem is equivalent to your $1,000 problem. It feels the same. So when we start saying, oh, you got money, you can, it's like, no, it's actually very similar. It's just their capacities are different, right? Yep. So I know that was a long-winded response, but I wanted to kind of close my part with that, because according to the text, by the way, the master and the servant was God and us. That's the parable. He puts something in your hand because he expects a return on investment. So stop showing ingratitude, and whatever position you in, save some margin. If it's $2, if it's $5, if it's $20, go invest it. God wants a return on his investment. He expects whatever you put in your hand for you to do something with it. And as you show him that you can be obedient and faithful in that, then he'll increase your territory.
I like it. It's funny. My number 10 my number 5, the number 10 for me is belief. I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't believe they can be rich or wealthy. They're just, I don't know if it's baggage from growing up or just an internal belief that this is just their lot in life. If you're in the United States and watching this, you are in the greatest country to be a self-made millionaire. Right? You're not born into some servitude or some caste system or whatever. Right? We talk to people on this channel who likely came from harder and more difficult situations than you, and they made it. It's just they believed. Maybe it was a belief that wasn't warranted. Who the F cares? They still believed it, and they still got there. I believe that a lot of people are broke because they're just, I don't know whether they're just beaten down or they're comfortable or they don't want to risk anything. To me, they just don't believe. They don't believe that, the first 9 of this list, it's just like they just accept it. you don't have to accept it. You can take personal ownership, personal accountability, and you can get rich. We talk to people all the time. People started with negative net worths. People were high school dropouts, people that were single mothers, people just out of horrible situations. And they made it. If they can make it, you can too. Right? If somebody out there that had a worse situation than you that got rich, that should be encouragement. That should be lightning in a bottle. You should hold on to that and just get after it. That would be the number one, the 10th reason why people are broke. Brian, where can people find you?
That's strong, Mike. Before I say that, I'm going to say this to piggyback off of what you said. Part of the biggest reasons why we struggle with belief is because we haven't become. I can't believe something that seems so far out of my reach if I haven't become the person to even be in position to reach such a thing. So the number one investment will always be in ourselves, because the more that we become a different version of ourselves, then we believe that we can have a different version of life.
Love that. Love that. Brian, where they can find you?
Brian Adamson Official, all platforms. And man, just always a pleasure, bro.
Thank you, family. Take care.
Yes, sir.